Hello guys. So I was asked on the YouTube channel by someone called Tyler Main, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, if I could help him make a Mono Thunder team. So first of all, I want to insist on the fact I have barely ever used any Thunder players. So I will put in the description a link of a guide who I found pretty helpful, but you just want to take it with a grain of salt because they did not include the newest Thunder EE Season 2 passer who's actually really great for Thunder backlines. So let me get started. The first thing you gotta know when you're building a Thunder team, there's one player you need to have. You need to have Belle. So just for those of you who don't know, this is Belle. The reason why you want to have her, first of all, she's a great player. Second of all, she's in basically all the Thunder chains, and she's very powerful. She did get a little bit nerfed in the last patch, but she's still one of the greatest. And the ideal is always going to be to have Belle and our second friend Leventor. Now, unlike most elements, this one you really don't want the third legendary, the season 2. Her skills are not that bad, but her AI just makes them useless. So actually, even if you have her and you're running Mono Thunder, it's sadly advised not even to throw her in the mix. So that's just something for a lot of you who say legendaries are the best. That's not the case for Thunder, sadly. So in the best of worlds, we're imagining you start with these two legends, or at least Belle. Starting with Leventor will be a little bit more crippling. But anyway, whatever one you start with, you're going to be saving these stones to go ahead and buy the other one. So I'm just gonna say there's a lot of units that whatever happened you're gonna try get. So the most notable names are gonna be Leventor, Belle, Veronica, Nura, Luca, Cynthia, and Raclette. So whatever happens, your team is gonna possess that exact list of players. So I'm not gonna show each player individually, well I am, but I'm gonna start by talking per position. So as a goalkeeper in Thunder, there's only one actually good goalkeeper. So that's very easy to choose. And that goalkeeper is Raclette. So if any of you have any French background, you actually know what that means, and it's kind of really ironic. It's something used to cook cheese. It's something very similar to a fondue. But ignoring that, she has a huge amount of life given to her by her skills. She has some very decent defense, critical resistance. So her stats are very good, and you're going to be using her as a goalkeeper whatever happens. Now, again, I'm going to be talking about Season 2 that is not going to be in the guide later on, so this is going to make a few differences. In the Thunder, up till the last patch, there were basically only one healer who was an active healer who was not that useful. So when we look at a backline, first we're going to have the most important of all Thunder backline players, Nerua. So she's useful for the backline, and she's useful for the entire Thunder team because of one single skill. This one, Thunder's Oath. Increase max hype and defense of Thunder players. So she's a must-have as she's an entire Thunder team totem who is pretty decent for someone you can just throw in the back line. Now, she does have a full set of great skills. Increase critical resistance, counterattack resistance, decrease incoming damage of other elements. It's just a beautiful set. None of these skills are useless. You could build it however you want. So whatever happens, she has to be in your backline. Now, on the backline, there are other options. That is the mandatory one. Now, some different options exist. Pretty often you're gonna see a Guinevere because she's gonna be able to heal herself, who's pretty nice. And since Thunder doesn't have that great backline totems, there is one 4-star player, Eden, who you'll actually use there for her totem skills. I know it's weird to use a 4-star player, but believe me, it's the only one that's worth it, and she's actually pretty good. Now on an S2 note, so this is something more new, so you might not find these notes in the guide, so this is very important. A new passer has been added called Nikita, and for EE, she's very good for a defensive backline. So, especially increased action speed, max hype, and defense. Recovering spirit for the entire team, irrelevant of what's going on, 20% every 3 minutes. And having a long pass is just really good. So, you want to try get her as soon as you can and throw her in your backline. Another thing that has been put pretty nice is there's also Butcher, whose skills have been revamped and now finally giving Thunder a logical healing player. So unlike Virgil or a lot of other players, he doesn't have any bonus effects, but 15% on one of the goalkeepers with the highest life rating is extremely powerful. So if you could throw him in your backline, it could make something pretty nice too. So this is why you would want to think about those players. He's actually not season 2, but again, you want to be sure you have enough totems so the goalkeeper can at least take a shot. Sadly, sometimes people are going to have problems and might temporarily throw in a totem of the Wormwind section, either Kiki or Magnus, until they sup enough the backline. Now on a midline, there's certain players that irrelevant of what happens are going to be put in. First of all, Thunder has one and only one good center mid. So that really makes the choice pretty easy. The only problem is that the center mid is a special player. So we got her fairly recently, so it shouldn't be that big a problem for most of you. I'm not currently finding her. Her name is Jury. She's pretty good for what she does, but the real value of her comes from the fact that she lowers the life of the line by 20% when getting attacked. So again, I would really advise getting her. And I'm just trying to show her and I really don't seem to find her. Well, I guess a lot of you that are Thunder players are just going to be like, she's obviously there. But irrelevantly of that, I'm going to move on. On the sides, Thunder is known for having a 4-man mid. So that's what you're going to try push towards. The next player you're usually going to do is you're going to try throw in Alinea, because she's going to increase the attack power and action speed within the position. So she's very popular for having that skill. You're also going to throw in Belle. I know she's supposed to be a backline player, but she really shines in midline. And on the left side, what you're going to find pretty often is going to be a Cynthia. So it's going to make something pretty nice, and she has one of the best skills, decrease the enemy's action speed by 15%. It's an entire team nerf. And on top of it, if she can use her strategy that increases the damage that the enemy teams receive by 15%, it can exponentially help the front line. And if you get Nikita in backline, it's just going to generate the spirit for any of those skills without you ever doing anything. Now, if we want to ask exactly what build I'm trying to point towards, I would say something like Cynthia, Jury, Belle, and then Linnea. That's what I would see as one of the optimal Thunder builds, but again, this is my personal opinion. You guys try it out and then you can change it. Now, on the front line, sadly, the Thunders, except for Leventor, don't have the greatest strikers. I would say in order, it's really going to be the top 2, Leventor. He's usually followed by Griffith. And then if we sadly go to Blade, who's the only one you can regularly obtain. So as I said, it's pretty important to try get him as soon as you can. Now, Leventor is of course going to be the best Thunder striker. There's no questions asked. He got buffed in the recent patch. So the minute you have him, you're just going to throw him in. So there's no problem there. Now the second thing you're going to want in front is you're usually going to throw a Veronica. Why you're doing this is for multiple reasons. The first one is it's again a Thunder totem. Increase Thunder attack power and critical rate. Increase critical rate and reflex within the position. Decrease defense within the position. Increase max hype of team. So basically the active is the thing you're going to be removing. She can also be used in the midline, but we usually find that when put in the front line, she really masters those skills. So again, it's a question of opinion, and she's fully capable of going midline. In the Thunder, there are only two passers that are line passers, and there's basically Luca and Kurapika. Luca did get seriously nerfed, but she still completely outranks Kurapika. So just stay with Luca. She's right here. We all know her. She used to be part of the meta and she's disappearing from it. But she's still worth it and she's still gonna give something pretty nice with the increased action speed, pass effect, and critical rate within position, recover spirit, and a pretty decent pass. So I would still use her as your passer. So my ideal line in this would be something like Leventor, Victoria, Luca. Now, if you don't have Leventor, the next best passer, as I said, is gonna be Griffith. So again, she's pretty straightforward on how to build her up. She has a really nice increased penetration power by 50% on her skills, meaning you're not really going to need to tire yourself so much on putting any penstone. Deals additional damage to goalkeepers and even increase the damage dealt by whirlwind players. I mean, it is just really good stuff all around. She's still strong, but she does not beat 11 Tor, so try get her, but that's basically the order. Now, what you want to always be careful when you're building this team is all the Thunder totems need to always be there. So again, I'm talking about Veronica, I'm talking about Nerua. Cynthia is not actually a Thunder totem, but she slows the other team down, so she's still really good. So I hope this helps you understand the basics of a Thunder team. I'm gonna put a link in the link the Reddit article where I found a lot of pertinent information, and I would really tell you to just give it a little read. But I think I gave the main ideas of what people would look like on a Thunder team, and I hope that this helps people understand what you're looking for when you're building it. And again, don't forget the Season 2 Pastoral, which isn't mentioned in Backline, is actually very strong. Have a good day.